Hey everybody. I'm gonna start this regardless of having nobody in here to talk to. That's okay. Let's see. Got some new Bluetooth headsets, so uh, yeah, I don't have to have a cord dangling from me when I'm trying to paint and I'm trying to like reach for stuff. This will be the first time I use the Bluetooth headset while I'm in a hangout. But it's going to help if I switch from this camera to that camera and then start painting something, like, or if I have to get something at the on the other side of the room. It really bothers me when I'm like connected to a cord, and especially if someone's talking and I have to take the headset off to go get something from downstairs. That's just that's rude, you know. Uh, so in the chat so far, hi Eon, VJ Eon, hi Bugsy's Evil Deeds, hey Mr. Will. Yes, it's still going on. Um, let's see. Hi, Grim Jim. Hi, Bruce Shepard. The logophobia. Yes, I'm afraid of saying some word. I don't know what the word is. Let's see. Hi, Proctor Hawk. Uh, hi, Crowton T. And whoever else is watching. If you chat something, I'll probably respond to you. As far as the logophobia of Bruce Shepard is concerned, um, solemnly and I guess like it with the most honest words I could possibly say. Dear Jesus Christ, please come into my heart and fill me with the Holy Spirit. Whenever you want to. Like just to zap me with the ability to like read between the lines in the Bible and finally understand and all of that stuff. Right? And I don't mean this like jokingly or sarcastically or anything. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen and I just fucking said it, right? Uh Hi JJ. A friend. Let's see. And I don't think I've ever sent a message to Kraut. Mostly, I know of Kraut through Liz Reptile. And I don't know if we have Kraut here, Sarah. He was talking earlier. Sandra's here, Mom's opinion. Now, I have to send her the link on Facebook. Sorry I didn't get right into the whole DMCA procedure, Bruce. I was trying to not be logophobic and actually ask Jesus into my heart for you, right? I'm sorry if I had my priorities out of order. Let's see. Okay, Sandra. First hang out whenever you want. Make sure you're wearing headphones so that you don't echo, and you should be able to figure it out from the link I sent you. It's okay if you're too shy, JJ. If someone talks shit about you, just feel free to just jump in, address it, and then leave. Come and go as you please. Hello, Jan. Let's see. Okay, so first we're going to start off with the title of the video, how YouTube screwed me with the DMCA procedure. I had a DMCA happen before with me where I fought it all the way, and that was with Pure Paranormal. Because I filmed a group called Brian and Baxter. They were like a paranormal parody group who were debunking the group Pure Paranormal. And I filmed them at a Skepticam. And when that happened, hey, Brian. Oh, hi, Sandra. And apparently these headsets don't work for what I'm doing. That sounded horrible, Sandra. So this headset has a different way to work. See, it was, I was playing a video, and it was in my headset, and now I'm on a Google Hangout and wants to play over my speaker. So horrible. So anyways, with the deal with Pure Paranormal is they were not ready for me to defend myself. They thought, oh, we don't like that we've been exposed by this video, so we're going to go ahead and oh, I found a way to get you into my Bluetooth headset. I don't have to put the cable in. Yes. Anyways, so Pure Paranormal, they gave me this DMCA thinking I'm never going to fight it. And this is just an easy way for them to basically take down some information that they thought was slanderous, right? And so when they did, I of course counterclaimed, and the procedure back then was a lot more streamlined. Was like 4 steps, right? And so I counterclaimed, and then in order to counterclaim, they had to give me their mailing address, a name, you know, that was associated with the account and everything, and then they had to press further and basically go to court. I had to give them my information; they had to give me theirs, right? That would have been step 4 in a court, right? So that's how it was like 5 years ago, right? That's how the procedure went. Not anymore, right? Apparently, there are entities who are good with YouTube, however that gets verified. And if they want to do a DMCA takedown of your content, then they can do it, right? And instead of the burden being on them to prove, like in a court, that they own the rights to what they're trying to claim, you are then put in this position, like what happened to me, where if you want to fight it, you face getting the strike. Now, the way it was before, I had the strike immediately, right? The copyright strike. So my account was gimped. I couldn't do a hangout like this, and I had to win my counter and wait for like 2 weeks for them to give YouTube like some case number from them filing in actual court. This is not what's happened with my latest DMCA, right? So the difference is Sesame Street decided that because they found an audio match between the theme song to Sesame Street and a video of mine, that they were going to file the DMCA because they're just trying to make sure that nobody's using their intellectual property. And I think that this has something to do with the fact that Sesame Street was recently sold to HBO. Now, HBO wants to, get all the offending things off of YouTube and off of all social media that they can, so that they can, exercise their ownership of. So they go through the process of uploading Sesame Street's theme song and then just crawling across all of YouTube looking for matches. And they found mine. My video was a parody, right? And the first part of it does have a sample of Sesame Street's theme song. The rest of it has a dubstep remix of it. Now, I'm not the one who wrote the dubstep remix to the song, right? The dubstep remix to the song was done by another person on YouTube. I'm not going to play the song for you guys. But his song is still here on YouTube, right? I could find it and show you guys, but what I'm trying to get at is the fact that they haven't pulled down that song is telling, because the video that I had was called Occupy Sesame Street. It had Sesame Street characters photoshopped into situations that the occupiers were in with the Occupy Wall Street protest. And basically it had them getting arrested, it had them crying, it had them camping out like homeless people, and it was just a funny taking the piss out of everyone in the Occupy movement. And it's not like I wasn't a part of the Occupy movement myself. A lot of you know this, right? With Occupy Denver and Occupy Colorado Springs, I was there supporting them. And it was during that time that I uploaded this video, right? And it was a dubstep remix of Sesame Street as the foundational music, and it was a bunch of photoshops. Now, I was just the person who put them together. I didn't own or actually create any of this except for the fact that I put it all together, right? So then the video gets like 30,000 views, and it's one of my top videos on my channel. And it sat there at around 30,000 views for a very long time. Now, let's see. I'm going to share this screen with y'all. My analytics here. This is lifetime, okay? Lifetime on my channel, the fourth most watched video, if you go down by views, 31,000 views, is Occupy Sesame Street, right? And I'm the only one who can see it right now because Sesame Street put this DMCA on me. It says it's public, but it's not. And it was getting absolutely no views, basically, like 1 or 2 views a day. This is another thing that it's making my decision for me, right? This is not a video that is big on my channel anymore. You know, it was big back in the day. It had thousands of views, right? And then it kind of just trickled off. Maybe 1 to 3 views a day you're seeing, right? So let's see. The spot that I'm put in now, they claimed on my video, I counterclaimed. They claimed again, I counterclaimed again. And what YouTube did was they gave me this like round 5 of this process where they said, okay, if you want to continue to press your assertion that you have the freedom of speech to use a fair use clip of their intellectual property, that's fine. We're going to give you 7 days to reconsider. And if you don't reconsider, then you're going to get a strike on your channel. And you can go to court and try to make your case in court and try to sue them directly, right? So now, instead of a good outcome, what I end up with is I'm going to lose my video either way, right? Either by taking it down myself or in 7 days accepting the copyright strike. Either way, the video is not going to be on my channel, my 4th most watched video. And basically, I get to decide now to have a copyright strike or not, right? And if I did have that strike, I wouldn't be able to do a live stream like this. I wouldn't be able to invite Sandra to a live stream. I wouldn't be able to talk to you all like this. And I've been doing this like, you know, at times once weekly, you know, and I do have plans for my channel. When I'm looking at how this video does not bring more people to my channel anymore, what I'm faced with is the very simple decision: do I want a copyright strike or not? Because I'm not going to sue Sesame Street. Yes, they are removing my free speech parody, you know, and they are pressing that they own this intellectual property such that I can't make a political commentary and parody of something with their intellectual property, right? They're saying that fair use doesn't exist, whereas Sesame Street is concerned, which is bullshit, right? And I should be able to win a court case against them. Problem is, that shit costs money, right? And I am not going to ask my viewers to go over to like Kickstarter to say, hey, help me sue Sesame Street. You know how fucked up that sounds? Like suing Sesame Street? The fuck? You know? And really, I think we all have better things to do with our money. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the video, right? I'm going to back off of my counter, which I know I'm swallowing my pride to do this. Sucks that I'm swallowing my pride to do this, but I'm going to. And I'm just going to upload it on video hosting platforms. I'll throw it on my Facebook. I'll put it on Vimeo. And I'll give you guys a link to that, you know, in a different video maybe. But this channel and me being on it for like almost 8 years now, it's worth more to me than just one video and 31,000 views on my view total. You know, I'm up near like 600,000 views total with all my fucking 3,000 videos. And it just so happens that Sesame Street's ravenous desire to not have their brand associated with political commentary is, hungry enough that they could push me to do this, to not have a parody with their stuff in it. And I usually act on principle. I really do. But I'm getting to the point where, I'm looking at what's going to suit me and my lifestyle the best going forward. And the options that YouTube has given me. Now, if this were the old system, the old way that things used to work, I would have gotten that copyright strike as soon as they claimed, right? And my channel would have not been able to live stream. I would have been gimped, right? And basically, this way that it turns around, like if it was the old system, I would have appealed, had my video up, and my channel would be fine. But now with this system, my channel's been fine this whole time. And now on like round 5, I have to choose. Do I want justice? Channel to be not gimped and not have a copyright strike on it. Which do I want? So then basically they win. And if this were, if this system were to have happened in 2011, Pure Paranormal that would have won, in that my video would have been pulled down. And because of the state of the YouTube community, I can't count on anyone mirroring my video anymore. These are fucking over. Nobody fucking cares anymore. That's why I stopped doing the weekly flags recap. Was I actually felt like I was hurting getting people aware of these free speech issues, because people thought, oh, well, yeah, they were flagged, but them anymore, because there's one show where somebody does a recap of everyone and he gives everyone a shout out. So I don't have to do anything personally. Right. And so I was like, you know what? Declining viewership. It's taking a lot of my life to do this show every week. And it's actually hurting the movement towards free speech awareness. Yeah, I don't want to do it anymore. And now, without the weekly flags recap, to the point where people will mirror to content that has been downed. It happens so often, and people are so that they might give it a thumbs up and a shout out on Twitter. That's it. Nobody's going to stick out their neck for anyone else, because okay, so I'm not going to do the whole process on camera as far as taking down the video. I'm just going to say that is my intent, and I might send some screenshots on Twitter to show everyone what it looks like when you decide to back down from asserting that something is a fair use. Thank you, Raise a Village and Propter Hawk, for saying that you liked the weekly flags recap. I liked doing it. It was people who are probably the most close to me as far as viewers found my channel, because they themselves or got a copyright strike. not only did it find me a bunch of other YouTubers that I never would have found, I found some communities that I felt like, because of that series that I was doing, I had no real opportunity to really dig into these communities that I had found that were so rich. For instance, there were the targeted individuals. Now, these are people that believe that the government uh, has some sort of rays that they're able to focus on individual people, they go through the earth from different continents even, and when these rays cross on a certain individual, like it'll give them pain on certain parts of their bodies, and these are the people that you see shielding themselves with aluminum foil, like the literal tinfoil hats, right? And so, just listening to the vernacular that they used in describing it, taken aback in that it looked like how I see the people who think that the gray aliens are real, right? It seems like the gray aliens story has grown from like person to person to person who says that they've had an alien abduction happen to them, and these gray aliens, because they've shown up in so many accounts, the story becomes more real and more real. And the same thing is happening with the targeted individuals. They build upon the lore of the last person who was part of that community, and so they share this common delusion, in my opinion. And it's their accounts are strikingly similar, but it's because the internet connects us so well these days that people are able to take portions of people's stories and then add them to their own, you know, without somebody being able to visit all of these different people across the world and try to compare their stories as they were like originally, because all of their stories are basically like they hear a little bit of a different thing that happened to this person, and then they all assimilate it into their own story. See, like the similarities before they were talking to each other, because the internet connects us so well. So yeah, I wanted to do a lot of videos on people called the targeted individuals. I just didn't have the time, you know. And I feel like you strike while the iron's hot. You come across something new and fresh. If you feel like making a series on them, you should. But since then, a bunch of other people have come across the target individuals and already thoroughly explored it, and I enjoyed their videos. Let's see. In the chat, uh, Bruce Shepard says gender identity is a big delusion. He says, sometimes I feel like $1,000,000 not appealing to my emotions and getting a surgery to look like a stack of cash. That she's going to sue Sesame Street with me. I'm not even going to ask people to boycott Sesame Street, right? Because I have a different understanding of this. Like, they're such a corporate entity now that they're on HBO. It's like the people who have their heart in teaching kids how to count and teaching kids the alphabet, those are not the people that are giving me a DMCA. It's the people who are pressing property rights and trying to profit off of those endeavors. It's the corporate side of things that has sent this strike my way, and I'm going to have to dodge it.
Right. Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Right. Yo, no, I just let you talk and rant for a bit, like before I start interrupting you. Common
Well,
sense and
thanks.
dignity and yada yada. Yeah. Well, what I was thinking about, how about you download the video because it's just one part that triggers the DMCA strike, right? That little
Uh-huh.
sound that is associated or Sesame Street associates with that's my property, not yours. How about just taking out that sound, or is that the whole video? Because I haven't seen the
It,
video,
it's
but
it's a good portion of the video um,
right,
that
yeah,
that it leads into this dubstep parody of it, and now see the dubstep for me artistically, it represents that time 5 years ago when the
right.
Occupy movement was strong. You know, when it first happened, that's also when dubstep was very popular, and I associated those millennials that were the with dubstep. And so taking the Sesame Street theme and turning it was like a really big part of taking the innocence and turning it into the zeitgeist of that time.
No, I understand it quite well. Yeah. No, but see, because what I was thinking, if it's just a couple of seconds that triggers the strike, it's like, yeah, you can download it, just take out those couple of seconds and re-upload it again. But if it is a major part of the video, including the zeitgeist and everything else, then yeah, you're screwed.
Yeah. And so basically what's happened in this is that YouTube given themselves this problem where I'm now going to move this content, which is fair use, to a
Hmm.
different platform that does not have takedown procedures the same way, you know.
Yeah, I know with
And
Facebook, when I upload a video that has a bit of music underneath there that is copyrighted, and it doesn't matter if it's fair use or not, it gets uploaded, and then Facebook goes like, "No, we detected this music. Skip. It won't be uploaded. Won't be posted. Anything at all. Won't be published." I've seen that happen on my account more than once.
mhm.
So, fingers crossed for you if you can upload it to YouTube or to Facebook. But there are other
Well, there
platforms.
are there are enough there are enough of other alternate video hosting sites that I can put it on. Um, I really feel like also the timing for this video, the message of it, passed. Like
Mhm.
it used to be when I would get something flagged or somebody would get DMCA'd, it would be a recent video, and it's important for their expression. For me, I already expressed it 5 years ago. Most of the views that this video was ever going to get have already happened. And I really don't feel like shouting, "Hey, everyone, what I had to say was very important, and you all need to see it." And so please mirror my video, give me a shout out and all that, because most everyone who is going to see that video has already seen it. And the call for the message is in the past.
Mhm.
You
No, I
know,
get that. I get that.
bringing levity to that situation is not something that's needed anymore. It's not as important. So making this decision to not fight for myself and just as it is, being a clean channel with no dirty copyright strikes, and just take that as my consolation prize. That's it, it's an easy. What's not easy is that I am not operating on principle
Mm,
when I do
yeah.
this. And I'm
No,
normally somebody who will act on principle with everything. And instead, I'm choosing, maybe I'll just take the easy way out because I'm not really going to get much benefit out of fighting for myself here to lose a lot.
No, no, that's something I can understand. Unless you have quite a lot of money, you don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to have other people coughing up money for you. I understand that quite well. It's like, yeah.
Whoa. I'd love for people to cough up money for me, just not for something stupid.
Okay. I stand corrected. No, I understand it quite well. Yeah.
If I
it's
needed
not worth the
money,
effort in the end of the day.
I would have no qualms about asking for it if I needed to throw up a fundraiser for something very important. And in the past, I have, including for the Occupy movement, where I raised like $2,000 for the local Occupy movements. You know, with back then the site we all used was Chipin, right? And it was connected to your PayPal account, the way that you got the funds. But Chipin would give you this chart of like how much money you've raised towards your goal, just like a Kickstarter Indiegogo work now with like, it was like a thermometer, right? They're like,
yeah,
you're moving closer and closer to your goal. $1,000 because I was like, oh, these guys need some help making their statement. You know, they need some food to be able to stay there 24/7 and whatnot. And I actually feel like there are many better there than what I did, and I'm not as proud of what I did as I was then. Like every year that DevShell did the Madness, Mayhem, and Charity thing, his charity was supporting the International AIDS Vaccine Initiative, right? And now I see a lot of clients in my job that are HIV positive that are directly benefiting from the research that went into AIDS vaccines and AIDS treatments. The antiretroviral cocktails that they're taking, there's so many different prescriptions that, like, you know, as an addiction counselor, I'm pretty up on all of the different names of drugs in general, right? But when I see some of these drug names, I'm like, wow, I've never seen this one before. And then like 2 months later, there'll be another one, you know, that's for HIV. And all of these different drugs that they're coming out with, and they're like keeping people alive, like nothing was ever wrong. You know? I feel like that was a lot better use of money, and that I had been supportive of that back then instead of what I did support, which was giving a lot of food to the people who were occupying.
Yeah,
because in the end, it was the winter that broke them. Like nobody wanted to camp out in the cold, you know, and their movement started so late in the year that, you know, it was just like 2-3 months later that they all quit because of snow.
Yeah, winter is coming eventually.
Yeah, but it was hardly like 3 months of occupying things because wintertime was coming and people are like, oh man, you know, maybe we can all come back in the spring when everything thaws out. And you know, everyone who was opposing them just took that as they're broken.
Yeah, the momentum is gone.
You know, the momentum was gone. I really feel like I was pissing that money at something that I could not have raised enough money in order to save that movement locally. Yeah. Right?
We all part of it is with the power of hindsight, of course. Oh
yes, and hindsight being 2020, I wish I had raised more money for the International AIDS Vaccine Initiative, with the Madness Mayhem and Charity thing. Now, I did raise quite a bit of money selling some of my paintings on eBay for that. Associated with the fundraiser. So I did, but there were a million different things probably that I could have done fundraising for that would have been better. And if I come across one of those things, I will have no problem asking people for money for it. But a lawsuit against Sesame Street is not one of those things. It just isn't.
No, unless you add a lot of publicity to it to your own benefit, then it would be useful. But no, in this case, I will. Even I would go like, too bad.
I don't want to be the guy that sued Sesame Street. I don't want to be that guy. No. Like, that's publicity I don't want.
Yep.
And some people will say that any publicity is good publicity. Fuck that. I don't want to be the guy that sues Sesame Street.
No, unless you're called the Kardashians, then any publicity is good publicity. But yeah.
One of my favorite lines that I say as a joke to people is reading is fundamental. Like, if they didn't read the manual and they don't know how something works, and I just go over and push a button and make it work, and I'm like, here's the manual. Reading is fundamental.
Yeah.
It's sometimes I say it like I'm an asshole.
Yeah. Or what I use, the acronym I intend to use is RTF. Read the fucking manual.
Yeah, read the fucking manual, right? Sesame Street is what taught people how to fucking read.
Mm-hmm.
It's how can you fucking attack Sesame Street?
I would say it's culturally ingrained into people.
Yeah. One of my majors was English. And JJ Talks same way. We love when people learn how to read. So yeah, just because there's some bad actors in the corporate world that are, they now own Sesame Street and they want to, for their intellectual property rights over things, that doesn't mean that I want to try to hurt the entity that is Sesame Street.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't know if my video was hurting their brand much, especially it only getting like 1 to 3 views a day. Yeah. I don't think that there was any chance that anyone would think an actual Sesame Street video or an actual Sesame Street product. It was like way too adult. Yeah. So I wasn't hurting their brand, and I never would want to like attack their brand. I was making political commentary with that parody.
Mm-hmm.
No,
I don't believe you would be hurting the brand, or I don't think the majority of people would think that anyway. But yeah, looking at it from a corporate standpoint of view, they think differently.
Yeah. Sandra, you figured out how to get the mute off?
I think so. I was sitting there going, well, I'm just muted. I can't talk. Can you hear me now?
Awesome. Welcome to Google Hangouts on a channel. We've got 17 people watching us live right now, and probably a couple hundred will watch this by the end of the week.
Impressive.
This is what this is like.
I've been on one other thing like this, and I was one of like 20 people. It was interesting.
You missed dinner with us last night.
Yes, I did. I couldn't make it out there. I'm sorry.
You know what? It was a bit hoity-toity for service dogs, but I would have loved to see them react to
Connor?
You bringing a service dog in there? Oh yes, oh yes. This Village Tavern place, okay, the cheapest hamburger there was like $15.99.
Wow.
Right, and it was good. Burgers were good. I think the one I got cost like $20, but that was just like the cheap side of the menu.
Uh-huh.
Right. Dan Glynn, the documentary filmmaker that came, he was ordering the wines off the wine list, and
did it have prices?
you know, the wine list had prices. It was like $6.50 a glass.
Wow.
Did it come
And
with?
he was ordering them. Yeah, he was ordering them by the strange names that wines have. I'll have the Bordello. You know, but it was a good conversation that we had. Richard, when he came, what was weird about that was he was not on the meetup list, and so I'm scrolling on Meetup on the app, trying to find like who the hell is this guy, right? And then I asked him like, "Are you this guy?" And he says, "Oh no, I didn't RSVP." And I was like, well, why? And he said, well, I just like to go to these things and find out if I like the group, and then I'll join the group. And it makes it awkward because, like,
then you don't know
if you make these public, open to anyone things, people can show up and do that, right? And there's no way to know who they are, you know, and that's fine. I'm not afraid of people doing that, but it is kind of creepy.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we have no way of like tracking, you know, who you are to be able to tell you anything after this. You just popped into our lives for a dinner, and now you're gone. Unless he joins the group, I don't know.
We'll see. Huh?
Yeah, he had good photography that he would put into time lapses. Much better than any time lapse I've ever done. Because he goes for like, he literally went out to the Grand Canyon just to film clouds.
Oh wow!
You know, the best I've done like that is like the Pawnee Buttes. You know, I haven't really gone that far for a shot like that.
I haven't done any time lapse. The closest I've done is I was doing a cross stitch project, and I would take a picture after so many stitches. But then when you go to try to put it all together, it takes like an hour and a half to process through just watch the problem. I was like, this is boring.
Another thing that sucked about Village Tavern, while we were at Applebee's talking with Batfly, I was saying, you know, we're looking for a place that's quiet. He had two places in mind. The first one had closed. Like the week they had that meetup at Applebee's, that place that he suggested closed, and he didn't know it yet. Places to eat. The second place was Village Tavern, and I'm like, we got there, and that place was so loud.
Oh no!
I was like, how can you put this forth as a quiet place to be able to hear each other while you're at dinner? It was so loud.
Oh my goodness.
And I think it might have been that it is now Christmas shopping season, and it was a Friday night.
Yeah, and everybody's out and about. And
the place was packed. It took 20 minutes to get enough seats together for them to call us, and so it was good that we came early again, you know, prepared. So they got enough seats for us, but it was like, how? And then after this place did not meet any of the specifications we were looking for, Batfly didn't show up. He picked the place, he RSVP'd, and he didn't show up.
Oh man.
You know, that's the weird part about like allowing people to pick the place.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you figure that at least they will show up.
Yeah.
You show up when you post the meetups.
Yeah.
You know,
what you know, good to me is one of the first time I went to go check it out. It was nice and quiet, no big deal. And then when we went in to have our thing, I was like, "Damn, it's noisy in here."
Yeah, Applebee's still, I think, has like the lowest roar of any of these places.
Yeah,
and I think it has to do with maybe people just don't like Applebee's anymore.
that could be. I was wondering about BJ's. Have you ever been to BJ's?
I've been to BJ's in Colorado Springs, and I just love the way that BJ's makes innuendo throughout the conversation.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You know.
Well, there's one out here.
Let's all go to get BJ's.
Yeah, BJ's has always been quiet, even when they have all their sports shows on.
Now, see, Propter Hawk's saying that Batfly trolled us hard. Propter Hawk, Batfly showed up to the other meetup. You know, it's like, and I thought, you know, this. Like he actually felt like this would be a quiet place. He was in earnest.
Mm-hmm.
Bugsy, find a meetup in Arizona. Let me tell you how you do it. You fucking make the meetup. Okay? Don't wait for somebody else to make it for you. You have to create it. Okay? You have the community that you want. And if you don't want to put in the work for a community and you don't have any community, that's exactly the choice that you made. You know?
You can't sit in a corner and expect everybody to come to you. You have to get out there and associate once in a while.
Oh, Beach wants the link. Let's see. Eon, what country are you in right now?
Scotland. Or United Kingdom, because Scotland is not a country within the United Kingdom. It's a territory. Yeah, no, yes. It is that silly, yes.
You could be one day if one of those referendums ever goes through.
I have voted yes for independence. Not for real arguments, but all the arguments that were given were, yeah, maybe not kind of arguments, and the only thing I could find is historical context, and I went like, yeah, Scotland should be independent. But yeah, that was my only reason to vote yes.
So Grim Jim says we're going to find out that dragged away and eaten by coyotes, bad about bitching about him. No, I'm going to say, why didn't you drag your coyote-eating ass back to civilization and up because we went to the place that you wanted to eat?
All right, what's all this then?
We let a guy choose where we were going to have a meetup.
Oh, yeah?
And he didn't show up. He was the one who picked the venue.
Uh-huh.
You know, and I've let like other people pick the venue to be like closer to where they live, or make it easier for them, or pick the time and stuff. And then they show up, because it was made easy for them. He got to pick his favorite place to eat that was quiet, allegedly.
He hoped.
Yeah, and then he didn't show up.
No, little social anxiety going on there or something.
No, he showed up to the first one. The first one that he showed up was where we allowed him to pick the next one. He had already come out and seen us like that. So I guess.
Well, maybe that first time taught him a lesson.
Maybe he was afraid of a responsibility or some form of authority. His own authority.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know who you're talking about. So
Bicho, it seems that people have realized that if I get asked to talk about something, I usually oblige people. And
typically, sure.
It was Poseidon Kicklodon, one of my biggest trolls. He comments on a lot of my videos. He asked me to watch this video of the lawyer for, I think it's Jim Coiner.
Yeah, I don't. Who's that? Who that?
It's I think he's just a congressman who is.
Oh, John Conyers. You're talking about John Conyers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So his lawyer
from
was making a
Michigan.
statement for him.
Is he from Michigan? Yeah, Michigan. Yeah.
His lawyer was making the statement, and it was against Nancy Pelosi, calling for Conyers to resign.
Yeah.
Because of sexual harassment allegations. Right. And so the lawyer's why aren't you calling for Al Franken to resign when there's more people who've come out against him than have against Conyers?
It's ridiculous. Let the process work. That's all I got to say. Nancy Pelosi kind of jumped the gun there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Conyers is done anyway. I think the allegations against him are much more serious, from what I gather.
They're much more serious to his health.
Well, he old. Yeah, he old too. And he's got a safe seat, so it's not a big deal. Except, you'll lose the seniority and the experience, but oh well. I think it's kind of
if you said the wrong thing to this guy, he could have a heart attack.
Oh, is that what the lawyer was saying?
No, that's what I'm saying. Nancy Pelosi could be responsible for him.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Sicker and
sicker. That's ridiculous. I mean, don't you think? Is that the defense? I mean, you're being snarky, right? You're not being serious.
I am being snarky.
Okay. Sometimes you're so deadpan. Sometimes it's hard to tell, Mike. You are the evil social scientist too. So I got to keep an eye on you.
No, my feeling, what Poseidon Kicklodon wanted in having me watch this clip. He wanted to know how I felt about the future of the Democratic Party after watching that clip. And all I was really feeling about the future of the Democratic Party is Nancy Pelosi was harping about the tax plan.
Yeah.
Anything about sexual misconduct of anyone. Thing on my mind, and I think that there should be one thing on every congressman's mind right now, and that's the tax plan.
Right. Well, it's going to go to conference now. It's not going to go to Trump's desk yet, right?
What the latest and greatest is on that, but
well, they passed it in their version in the Senate. That mess. you know, like with the handwritten notes on it and shit. But it's not the same. Yeah, before you can pass a bill to the president, it has to be passed by both chambers, and it has to be the same legislation. It has right down to the last period.
Thanks for stopping by, Raise a Village.
Right? You know, schoolhouse rock time. How I'm just a bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's just the feeling that I was left with. Like, we really, really, really need to focus on,
Of course,
what's trying to get pushed through, and everything else, especially fucking Donald Trump's Twitter. Everything else is a distraction.
Yeah.
Like, don't fucking respond to anything he tweets. I don't fucking care what it is. Tax plan is like number one priority right now, and whatever else bill that they're trying to get through, if it's not something that the American people need, you need to fucking oppose it.
They don't give a fuck.
It.
They don't give a fuck. And by they, I mean the Republican delegation, the Republicans in the House and the Senate. They're very nihilistic right now. Have you seen some of the shit that's in that bill? I'm sure you have.
No, actually, the thing with the handwritten notes. I saw a video from a congressman from Minnesota.
Yeah, Tester. I saw that too. John Tester.
And he pushed up the handwritten notes to the camera, and I'm like, yeah, I can't read that either.
Yeah, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. Absurd to the nth degree. It's just giveaways. They even name like individual organization, like some private university gets a tax break because we said so. Shit like that. It's just absurd. I want to see this conference too. I'd love to be a fly on the wall for that. I just think the Republicans know they're going to get wiped out and they don't care, and they're trying to just get what they can before they get booted.
But they haven't gotten much of anything. That's what's really weird about it is, like, the healthcare reform thing hasn't happened.
Oh, they're sneaking that in the tax bill.
Yeah, they're trying.
No, they're removing the mandate. There's language in there to remove the mandate. There's all this other stuff too, and cutting Medicare. What other ridiculous shit? In other words, it's like, you know how people complained about riders and like shit that has nothing to do with the bill. This is a prime example. This is like good old days.
Yeah, they sneak some sort of rule in while nobody's looking.
Yeah, it's called a rider. Yeah, midnight amendments, that kind of horse shit.
And the pork barrel stuff.
Yeah.
Like in there, like but saying, there is pass it because they can't be cohesive enough to pass anything, then they're not going to get anything done. Like, we could come up on
they've lost their minds, Mike. They've lost their minds. They just don't know how to govern. They haven't known how to. They've had the presidency, both houses of Congress, and the court on their and the courts on their side, and they fucked it all up.
They were so busy.
Trump.
They were so busy fighting the last guy that they forgot how to do their job.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. You spend years being against something just to be against it.
And they didn't even have a logical reason to be against it, whatever it was he was doing.
Just to be against it.
Yeah. We don't like him because of his funny name or something.
The only reason why they want to get rid of the healthcare system we have now is because it's colloquially, known as Obamacare.
Right.
They don't want Obama's name on it. They want their own name on it.
And it's not on there. It's the Affordable Care Act.
I know.
But
like, people know it as Obamacare.
That and people will get a taste of actually having better access to health care, and they're afraid of that. Then that makes it harder to go after shit like Medicare and Social Security.
The free cell phones that people pass out, that it was actually Ronald Reagan that started the program for home phones. For
I remember when it started. They
call them Obama phones.
Well, home phones, and I think they were actually handing out phone cards so you could use them on pay phones back in the day when there was such a thing.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
That was Reagan that started that shit.
Yeah.
And just the same way, Obamacare is basically a revamp of Romney Care. And
as much as they could get through because of the Republican Congress. That's why it's flawed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, whoever's name ends up on it last is what they're chiefly concerned about. Who's getting the credit?
Yeah, optics. Oh, they don't want Obama to have any kind of legacy. Mm-hmm. They just want to erase him. It's like the old days when you had like a new pharaoh come along and he'd have everybody chisel the faces off the statues of the old pharaoh. It's that kind of thing.
Remove them from their records and all that. And
from a outsider's point of view, I find it a bit childish.
Extremely so. Petulant.
It's very childish.
Yeah, I'm using an understatement here.
Yeah, look who's in the Oval Office. The most petulant man-child that's ever...
Did you see what he did yesterday? Or was it the other day?
Which? I can't keep up anymore. I don't even try.
He was honoring the code talkers.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
He asked the general before he went to talk about them. He asked him, were they important? Did they have anything to do with the war? Did they help at all? And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, half of my family were code talkers. And then he did the ceremony. I don't know who was thinking, but they did the ceremony in front of Andrew Jackson.
Andrew Jackson's portrait.
Right.
Well, most of them were Navajos anyway. They weren't Cherokee, so it's okay.
But believe it or not, there were Cherokees. There were Cherokees in there.
There were all kinds of tribes that were used in several languages. Several.
Sorry.
I think the Winnebago were in there too. I think they used their dialect.
But there was a lot of them, and the thing was, Andrew Jackson was the one who had the Indians removed. He even had them removed from the books. So like there was no such thing as an Indian tribe.
Let's just say he's not
a
very appreciated by
so
Amerins.
They're having this thing right in front of his picture, and then he goes and refers to what's her name as Pocahontas.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, can we insult them anymore?
Well, just to I'm just going to use this ceremony to honor Amerins who put their asses on the line in World War II to take a jab at a political opponent.
Right.
The ultimate, and just petulant. And just saying pretty much, I don't give a fuck. I'm just here. I'm going through the motions. That's the message he sends.
Yeah.
He's just a pig. He's a pig. He's an oaf. He's just,
And
it's America facing its id in full glory. That's what we're getting right now. We're looking at our id.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Warren still is my odds-on favorite for winning the Democratic primary.
I don't care.
In 2020.
It's too early. We have a midterm coming up. I do not care. It's too early, Mike. Mike, start talking about it. Start talking about it after November of next year. I don't give a shit about the presidential
I'm just
primaries
saying,
right now.
There was a different version of that slur that's
Yeah,
been used against
Pocahontas.
Pocahontas.
That's what
If
the
he had
joke
said
was.
that,
Yeah.
if he had said Pocahontas, he might have actually been advocating for Native Americans not being
That would have been the
appropriated by white
spin.
people.
That would have been the spin. But it's still inappropriate. Why bring it up? Your little petty political fights, go ahead and
Yeah.
do that on Twitter. But not when you're honoring heroes from World War II. Especially people who had, who could honestly say, fuck you, go fight your own war, white man.
Really?
And they did anyway. So that's actually true patriotism. Like the Tuskegee Airmen and all the other black servicemen in World War II. It's all like, why should I fight? But they did anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So, fuck you. It was actually, it's inappropriate whether he said Pocahontas or Pocahontas. It's the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
It was inappropriate.
He often goes off whatever
Script.
it is that's in front of him, off script, and he's not in the moment, and he just starts attacking his political rivals. Like, even when he was at the Boy Scouts.
He's like the id monster from, you ever see Forbidden Planet?
Yeah.
He's the id monster. And then the rest of us are, that's our a collective unconscious thing. We're Walter Pigeon. And that's the projection of all the negative shit in American culture. The meanness, the pettiness, ignorance, and the worship of ignorance. And all of that. So maybe that's a good thing. And in a way, Trump's a good thing too. You remember the elections in Virginia?
Yeah.
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 You actually had the head of the House of Burgess get knocked out, the Republican leader in the House of Burgess, get punched in the face by somebody who was a registered socialist.
Wow.
So he's a good guy too. He's a Marine veteran, electrician, actual working class guy.
Mm-hmm.
So that, the first openly trans person to be elected in Virginia. I believe that there was other except, but in Virginia.
Yeah.
And again, in a red district. So in a way, because I think state houses and Congress is more important than the presidency. That's why I shake my head. And like when people start, like when you started in talking about presidents, like, I don't care. I want state houses and I want Congress.
The fact that she was trans, I actually remember that. I remember her for saying, I don't talk ill of my constituents more than the fact that she was trans. Because that was such.
No, that wasn't even the issue. She actually talked about
burn.
Yeah.
I was like, that's what I remember her for.
They are not.
She didn't run on. Yeah, no, she didn't run on being trans or trans issues. Nope. She's all like, no, there's these potholes that need to be filled. She did what the basic thing is for a representative, representing your constituents. It's service to your constituents, not your ideology. That's why we need to get away from that crap.
Yeah.
Keep the lights on and make sure the checks go through. Good government. Govern first and then yap about your pet peeve issues later.
At least not while the camera's going, right?
Well, I'm talking about, going after, government's here to enact either my socialist utopia or my libertarian utopia, whatever the fuck it is. It's like, no. Your first job is to represent your constituents.
That's it.
Or if it's an executive position, to make sure that the government's functioning properly. And then you can use your bully pulpit and everything to, to chirp about whatever your pet issues are. That's part of it too.
One of the things that Trump's constant focus on optics rather than actual substance has reminded me of in my life was I was working for General Electric when Jeff Immelt took over from Jack Welch. And Jack Welch was the one who basically was playing games with numbers, and he invested in an insurance company so that they could insure the company themselves, and then charge themselves lower rates than they should have. Very instrumental in things like the crash in 2008 with mortgages that were being bundled and whatnot. Like all of these things are interconnected. So Jeff Immelt comes on board, and then the stock prices start reflecting the fact that somebody who isn't willing to cook the books is in control. And so the stock price was kind of stagnant, and the workers were pissed because they were getting part of their pay was like getting stock shares.
Right.
And so the workers were pissed, especially those who had GE stock in their 401ks, and it wasn't really going anywhere. And then 2008 hit, and it went from like $30 a share all the way down to like $5.
Yeah.
And I was like, here's this guy who isn't willing to lie. He's basically going on principle, and he's going to get ousted basically by the board, because the stockholders are going to be angry, and he's doing the right thing. It was Jack Welch. Basically, he was like the Trump of GE. It was all hog and pony show.
Oh yeah, just make it look good for every quarterly report. Just show a gain, no matter what. I know.
And if there are giant problems with your company, pretend like everything's okay. And that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
If you pretend hard enough that everything's okay, people will believe it, right?
Yeah.
And that's what Trump seems to think is, if he tells a lie enough, people are just going to fucking believe it.
Well, that's how he ran his businesses. They were all scams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that and that for fronts for laundering money.
Most important thing seems to be
from Russia.
Never admit guilt.
Yeah.
Never admit guilt.
Oh boy, he's sweating balls right now, though. Michael Flynn singing like a Boyd.
Yeah. I missed going to a protest today that was about stop white supremacy. It happened downtown. And
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. No Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA. That was their chant, right? It's broken out in a couple of different places. But I was looking at the Facebook feed to it, and there was a guy who was posting photos, like wholeheartedly believing that these photos were genuine. And they were photos of Trump with Martin Luther King Jr. and Trump with a young Muhammad Ali, right? And they were good photoshops, right? They had the color saturation right, but as far as the age of like the taking someone,
what were they doing? Taking Trump?
60s?
Yeah, they were taking pictures of him from the 80s and putting them into pictures from the 60s.
Yes. And this guy was posting these things like, no one ever thought that Trump was a racist until he beat the establishment.
Bullshit. They thought he was a racist ever since fucking the 70s when he wouldn't fucking rent to black people in his apartment complex. Bullshit. Yeah. He's got a record that's very dubious. And what was that? The black kids who were being railroaded for an alleged rape in Central Park. He was like making statements like just hang him high and some really rancid shit. So bullshit.
But I can see how like the people who are following Trump, they are willing to buy a lot of bullshit.
Oh, they'll drink sand if Trump tells them it's water.
It's amazing the shit that they fall for, and then try to spread as if it's fucking fact.
Thankfully, it's gone down. It's about 33% of the population that give him an approval rating. I think the Trumpicans are the same people, teabaggers. That's all they are. They seem to be the same people. As far as the numbers go, about a quarter of the Republican side of things. So think about how many registered Republicans there are, and it's about a quarter of that solid. Just like the nuts we have on our side. Yeah, I'm speaking for myself on the Democratic side. The Just Us Democrats, my favorite contingent. I love those guys. You know, they were like not give. Oh well, you know, the Democrats sold us out, and it's all like every Democrat voted no on this tax bill. What do you want them to do? Vote no harder? They didn't vote no hard enough. They're out there like tweeting out like, "Oh, the Democrats sold us out." They're in the minority, you dip. Not one single Democrat voted for either bill in the House or the Senate. Not good enough. Well, maybe they should vote twice. Or I don't. What do you want them to? What do you want them to do? It's just fucking ridiculous. I just laugh. But actually, since the elections in was that Virginia and where else? New Jersey. I at least got some high hopes.
I was thinking about the Justice Democrats thing with Kyle Kalinske.
My favorite guy.
Yeah. I was thinking about that lately, and to me, it's like they want to take over the Democratic Party that was built on not the kind of business model that they're putting forth, that everything should be like these little tiny donations like Bernie Sanders got, right? And no corporate money whatsoever. And they're assuming that if it's corporate money, it's entirely bad, right?
As long as it's above board, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Those are my sentiments.
And
but also,
you know, and here's the thing too. Just, I'm sorry to interject, but if one candidate has all of this money, but if nobody votes for him, guess who takes office?
The one that gets
the other guy.
Yeah,
that's what it comes down to.
What they're basically their plan is unilateral disarmament. They're not going to take corporate funds, and they're going to leave all the corporate funds for the other guy.
Right.
And that money is going to be used to reach individual people.
Sure. I'm not saying that money isn't important. You have to. You need it. You actually need it to build your ground game, which is what Obama did. That's why he trumped Hillary in 2008. His ground game was fierce. You know, it helped. You know, you got to pay for the gas for the van to drive out the volunteers to drive into the neighborhood and go knock on doors. You know, everybody give them pizza or one thing, and that's one precinct. You do that precinct by precinct. And that's what Obama did. That's why he won. His ground game was fierce. You need money for that. There's no doubt. you got to pay those phone bills for those volunteers to make those phone calls and envelopes to lick. You know, that shit costs money. So there you go.
So the way that they want to take over the Democrat Party rather than create
The what party?
The Democratic Party. Sorry.
Thank you.
The way that they want to take over the Democratic Party, it to me, it's like built on also incorporating corporate money. What exists there, is what they're calling the corporate Democrats, and they have this machine that they have built being corporate Democrats. And rather than start their own, justice party, if you will, they want to take over this machine that works.
Well, they're making,
without any of the corporate money.
You know the mistake they've made? They think a palace revolution. They think, oh, we'll just take over the DNC and then we'll control everything. Ha ha. No, it's not an autocracy. It's more like baronic feudalism, and the barons being the state chairs. They forgot about that. A lot of the power in the Democratic Party goes to the state chairs. And the state chairs can meet whenever they want together. They could bypass the DNC at any time. DNC was formed just to organize on a national level and to raise money as a national party and to pay for actually originally it was to pay for the convention, to take care of the conventions. That was its original purpose.
What boggles me
actually,
is,
I don't mind going back to that baronic feudalism. I prefer that. Fuck the DNC.
What is the difference between these Justice Democrats and the Green Party?
Not much.
On policy.
Not much.
Like, on policy, it seems like they're a lot closer to the Green Party than they are.
Well, okay. Well, a lot of these people are not Democrats. They're not registered Democrats. There were people who supported Bernie Sanders but weren't registered Democrats.
Yeah.
So, and there is I know a lot of people in the progressive wing of the party that don't like the Justice Democrats. There is a progressive wing of the party. Just like I'm in the liberal wing, I'm closer to them than I would be to the more centrists or conservatives, but we're still in the same coalition. They're interlopers. They're actually the reason that we have super delegates and whatnot, to prevent these kind of people to just take over, by parliamentary trickery and whatnot, and fuck things up, which is what they're doing. They got this my way or the highway attitude, and they're just fucking it up. They think that you can run a Bernie clone for, like, say, a congressional seat in Louisiana. No fucking way. Yeah, if you're in, like, Madison, Wisconsin, or Brooklyn, or like the Bay Area in California, sure, you can run a Bernie clone, but that shit ain't gonna fly in, like, the 6th congressional district of Kansas.
I agree, and I have actually tweeted Kyle on, like, 3 different occasions asking him how many of those wins this past election, how many of those wins were Justice Democrats proper, right?
Did he respond?
So after my second tweet at him, there was a video he came out with where he was touting all the wins by the Democrats that were positive, and he was giving the reasons why, like the guy who calls himself a socialist.
Yeah,
right.
He's just registered with the DSA, but he's from what I gather, he's going to what's the word? Work with the Democrats. He's not just going to sit out there by himself. Caucus with the Democratic delegation.
So he's going to caucus with them. But also the lady who's trans that won, his whole video was saying, this is a win, this is a win, this is a win. Not one of the people that he mentioned was a Justice Democrat.
Nope. And didn't get any money.
Not one of them said, I'm going to corporate funds at all. But he was counting them all as wins and saying, yes, there's momentum. And then he finishes his video with, join Justice Democrats.
Well, that's just him trying to get in front of the parade. Yeah, that's just him trying to get in front of the parade and claim that, that's what a lot of these lefties do. It's all like there's momentum for something, whether it's a protest, a campaign, and they'll jump in front of it and try to claim it as their own. And that's what happened. He can't explain it otherwise. It's not discussed with Trump or in Virginia discussed with the Republicans, because that's the greatest poetic justice is the trans woman candidate beat the guy who was trying to push a bathroom bill.
Yeah.
He didn't mention that at all, I'll bet. No.
He did.
Well, did he mention? Yeah. Okay. But that had nothing to do with the justice.
All of those wins, and then Democrats, if you want to see more, not a one of them was a Justice Democrat.
And not one of them got any money from the Justice Democrats either.
Nope.
Did they? No.
Nope.
Any Justice Democrat volunteers that they can claim? Any organization on the ground?
No.
Going out and knocking on doors, doing anything? Anything? No, it's just it's just you running your fat mouth, Kyle. Not doing anything and jumping in front of the goddamn parade. When are you going to get your ass out and do something? Never.
I'm going to put it to him in the midterm elections. The people that win are the people that he was backing as a Justice Democrat. Right?
I don't know. I don't even. How many? I hope
that in some of those races he can get back a candidate that wins. Right? Is gimping them.
Well, they're primarying. Who are they primarying? Who are they running against another Democrat? That's where you'll find a Justice Democrat.
Huh.
I think. I don't even know. Oh, I don't even know where. Oh, God, what's her name? Claiming that she's going to run in Massachusetts against a Democrat, the Gamergate schlep.
Zoe Quinn or something?
No, not Zoe Quinn. The other one. Swamp Beast. Swamp Hag.
Brianna Wu.
Brianna Wu.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, she's that's not going anywhere. She's running. It's actually a pro-life Democrat. Yes, there are such a thing. Because that district is heavily Catholic, working class. And she's going to get stomped. It's like, I don't know if she's trying to appeal to the Justice Democrats. I don't know of any Justice Democrat candidates of note.
Nope. And one of the candidates that he talks about the most on his channel is Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah.
Right? He'll say things like she's the closest thing that the Democrats have to Bernie. Sometimes he'll say something like that. He'll say
Bernie is the measure of all things.
Yes. He'll say, like, you've almost got it, but then you had to walk back your statement about it being rigged for Hillary, and so now you've lost it again.
Oh,
why?
Jesus Christ, get over
Elizabeth,
it.
Why?
Get over
it.
The
thing is, she's not a Justice Democrat.
Well, boo-hoo. Who cares? I don't want to see Liz Warren run for president. I want to see her as Senate Majority Leader, or at the very least, chair of the banking committee. I enjoy
all of her videos where she's grilling people in Congress, which I enjoy all of them.
Oh yeah, she's good.
She is a fucking pit bull.
Yeah,
in there.
And I would wouldn't you, can you imagine if she was majority leader?
Oh man,
she would be the female Ted Kennedy. She would be the lioness, the liberal lioness of the Senate, as opposed to him being the liberal lion. That would be awesome. And rub it into these Trumpicans. That's right. The Senate Majority Leader from Massachusetts. There would be none of these tax bill shenanigans. That's for sure. She'd be awesome.
So I'm sorry if you're Trumped out. I'm sorry that we got into politics because Beach joined us.
That's going to happen.
And I'm just like, I know that we all have this spot in our brains that is depleted of all nutrients.
Well, I wasn't even really talking about Trump because I can't even keep up with the motherfucker anymore. I can't keep up. Yeah. I'm just like, oh, whatever. I'm like that meme of Bill Murray saying "fuck it," throwing his golf club in the air. Fuck it. that's it. It's like, what did he do today? I don't know. Or how many times has he done it today? Oh, they're playing my song. I'm too old to run. I'll just let them pick me up.
It's a free ride.
Yeah.
Saves petrol or gasoline. There you go. There's a few pennies saved.
One-way taxi ride.
Ah, well, nothing is perfect.
Or they always used to call that the Tijuana taxi cab.
So, in keeping with, if someone asks me about a subject, I usually cover it. Okay?
Yeah.
In my comments, I got another comment from Great Neck.
Who?
On one of my videos 2 days ago. His name is Great Neck. I don't know that.
I don't get a chance to watch a lot of videos, so TLDR for me. I just don't get a chance to watch a lot. Yeah.
A guy decided to ask me to review some content.
Right.
And give what I have to say on it. And the content that he gave me is a blog where this guy is singing the praises of semen retention and NoFap. Powerful benefits. So basically, this guy says that like if you don't ejaculate at all, you just keep it all pent up inside you.
Right.
You will have more energy and more strength, and it will re-energize you even more.
Wasn't that debunked ages ago?
Well, I just keep being reminded of General Jack Ripper from Dr. Strangelove. Sap and purify our precious bodily fluids. It's like, I don't know what the science behind it is, but I would think ejaculating every once in a while is actually good for you. I don't know. Depends on the person, I guess. How did we get on this subject? Oh, you're freaky ass commenters. Yeah.
As an addiction counselor, I will say that I would not consider anyone who fapped up to once per day to have a problem that I would be willing to see them for.
Well, yeah, if you're over fapping, yeah, something's going on.
Yeah. Now, if you're over fapping, that would mean you couldn't go to work without fapping, and then you were late for work. If it causes problems in your life,
yeah, that's pretty much with everything, right?
4 times a day.
Yeah,
you can do it like 3-4 times a day. Have it not affect anything else in your life, And I still would say, okay, well, if it brings you pleasure, go ahead and do it. You know, but it's when people start like chafing and having sores on themselves and still going at it. And
thing like people who compulsively wash their hands until they crack and bleed, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Basically, if you have negative repercussions from fapping too much, and then you continue to do it after those negative ramifications in your life, then you've got a problem that I would talk to you about.
Right.
I've never seen people like have really good results from semen retention intentionally. What I've heard of colloquially is called blue balls, right? Where someone's testicles get so sore.
Since I was a kid.
Yeah, someone's testicles will get so sore from retention that if they were to ever like get kicked in their balls, the pain would be excruciating. Right. And yeah, what it reminds me of is when I was a teenager, I read a book called the Necronomicon. And I know there's a couple different books called that.
I remember the one that was released
by the Mad Arab, right?
No, well, that's
Beach. Your mic is cutting out.
Okay, that's because there's the glass cover on here. I switch the phone sometimes in my hands. So, okay. Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
So the Mad Arab says in the recipes in the Necronomicon that almost all the different rites that you're supposed to do in order to cast a spell.
Right.
It starts with you can't fap for like an entire month before starting this ritual. Right? Like you basically are celibate if you're going to be following all of these things. And I remember as a teenager, I read this. I'm like, well, I guess I'm never going to be a black magic practitioner.
Yeah.
I gave up. I was like, no, I can't make it that long. So I wouldn't know. I guess throughout my entire fucking life, I can't really think of a time where I really made an effort to go even a month. And if it takes like months of not doing something like that in order to see these powerful benefits, I don't know anyone who would know if there are benefits to it.
Well, I think among some aesthetics, it's a discipline thing. Like yogis do it, and it's really like a mind over body kind of deal. You know, to separate yourself from your physicality. But that's like intense thing. These are guys who are like live in caves and shit. So that's or like the Kundalini stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's that they so maybe these people are into that, but hey, whatever floats your boat, man.
So the dad joke guy actually boiled it down very succinctly in the chat. He says, raise the dead or fap. It's a difficult choice.
Well, unless you're married and have a couple of children, then raising the dead will become a bit easier.
See, that counts too in the Necronomicon. It was actually don't spill your seed. So either fapping or sex was bad. Now, this article that was sent to me says nothing about the difference between and fapping as far as the semen retention thing. Like it doesn't count if you had regular sex, because it's chiefly concerned with abstaining from masturbation to pornography and ejaculating.
Well, my main question would be, and wet dreams then? Because that's a conscious thing.
And you would probably be more likely to have a wet dream if you were
Yes.
Abstaining for a very long time.
That's something you can't really control in general. So
yeah. So then you lose all your benefits by accident.
Yep.
Horrible. I don't think I had many other like questions or subjects that people had suggested to me that I really needed to address. Batfly asked, how about a video on kicking cats through field goals, nicotine withdrawal? And that's exactly how he wrote it. Kicking cats through field goals, nicotine withdrawal. And I'm like, I've never heard of this. Like, is that anything like cold turkey, kicking cats through field goals? Is that a saying online?
I don't know. In my eyes, it sounds like animal
Anybody?
abuse, but
The only time I've kicked a cat over, did try to do a field goal with a cat is when it kept attacking me, and I said, "Hell with you."
One of my friends had a cat that he named Velcro because he would do this trick where he would toss it up and it would grab the curtains. And he would just have it grab the curtains as a trick.
I had one cat that did that, tore my curtains right in half.
our curtains are quite safe. Your ankles, though, that's a different matter. But no, oh, we've got a cat now. Oh, we've got 4 cats, by the way. But our youngest one, she's still a kitten. She apparently likes to play fetch with things. She picks up a bottle cap or something like that, or a bowl, picks it up, brings it to you, and you have to throw it away. She chases it, picks it up, comes back, and drops it. You have to repeat the process over and over again. Hopefully, in due time, I'll get the chance to film it.
Oh my goodness! So
I've only seen one cat do that.
There's a video online of a cat doing that, but we've got a kitten who does it too.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this article that happened 5 days ago, which would have predated Batfly's comment of a guy who lured a cat with food and then kicked it.
Oh no!
Right, and apparently a lot of people saw the video, and police are looking for the guy. And I'm thinking when Batfly said, "Kick the cat through the field goal," and then nicotine withdrawal, he was trying to write 2 different topics for me.
Mm.
So I guess we're covering the kick the cat through the field goal. Yeah, I don't like animal abuse.
Same here, and I'm wondering who recorded this.
Yeah, somebody else was holding the camera.
Somebody had
both his hands are in there. Yeah. Somebody equally as sick. See, the internet makes it so easy for crazy people to find other crazy people with the same interests.
And we have 2 cats and 2 dogs, and yeah, you don't do that.
So I guess nicotine withdrawal is his other subject that he wanted me to address. So, how many people are smokers in this hangout right now?
I am. I'm vaping, and I consider that smoking.
Yeah.
Yes.
I smoke cheapo proletariat cigarillos.
Sandra?
I haven't smoked for 30 years, at
Oh,
least.
good for you.
Kind of had to give it up when you got a baby.
Yeah, that would be one
Yep.
good reason.
Yeah, that now my husband is on oxygen tanks. So having anything lit like that is not.
Oh, not a good idea.
No.
No.
Kablooey.
Yeah, that's
So-
not a good thing.
Yeah, Batfly wants me to talk about nicotine withdrawal. Yeah, it's got symptoms that are associated with it.
Okay, isn't
but-
this right? It usually takes 3 days to get over the physical addiction. Does it not? Is that true?
For nicotine, I
Yeah.
would say 3 to 10.
3 to 10? Okay.
My son's yet to break it. I don't know.
You know, I actually one time quit smoking for 14 months, and it was a psychological trigger that got me back into it.
Mhm.
Those are powerful. Don't underestimate the power of the psychological side of it.
It is more breaking the habit. You have a pattern, a habitual pattern. Having a smoke after dinner, having a smoke after sex. Well, we were talking about fapping earlier. It is that habit that's very hard to break. I've been smoking for a long time. I stopped smoking when I ended up in hospital 6 years ago. Didn't smoke for a year and started smoking again. Stupid, I know, but that's my choice.
Yeah, you fell into it. I know the feeling.
Yeah, because it wasn't really my choice of stopping. I ended up in hospital, couldn't smoke. So by the time I left the hospital, it's like, let's keep it up. Until I smoked a cigarette and I went like, I missed this. So there's a habit as well, and that's very hard to break. It's a mental process, a psychological process. And I think the agent of doubt of Michael will know more about that than.
I think it's more of an issue than the physical addiction.
Yeah, the physical addiction, you get over it.
Yeah.
I know my son, when he stresses out, he has anxiety attacks like I do, but he refused to take the medication for it. So he'd rather have a cigarette than take the medication. Of course, the medication's just as bad, if not worse, than the cigarettes. So.
Oh, I take medication for my dysthymia and panic attacks too. I deal with PTSD, so
yeah,
I can relate.
I'll be right back. I need to move my little girl to her own bed. My wife just messaged me on Facebook.
Oh, Jan's leaving. Let's talk.
I'll be back in a minute or two.
Shoot, I had to take off and make my husband's breakfast before he goes off to work.
It's breakfast.
Yeah, my husband gets up at 8 o'clock to go to work.
Oh, night shifter.
Yes. My son gets up about 10 or 11, and he's very grumpy. He just started the job, and he's not liking it.
No, it's something to get used to.
Yeah.
I worked in IT, and a lot of times it's a 24/7 thing. So I know that drag. Graveyard.
Doing everything under the sun. He was asking me for advice, and I says, honey, when I was looking for work, you were a baby and we were homeless, and I'd take anything I can get just to put food on the table.
Well, the last thing that I have to address from the comments I've gotten is somebody said, I never would have figured AOD to be a soy boy.
Oh, I was going to make a joke about that too. Are you growing titties because you're a soy boy? You know, it's Paul Joseph Watson. You know how this shit started, right?
No.
Paul Joseph Watson made this video, and it had been going around among other righties, whatever the hell you want to call them. That soy boy is what made these, weak beta males, or as the golden one says, beta males. If you know that it's packed with estrogen and makes you feminine, and that's why you're a leftist.
Okay. Well,
here's the better part of the joke. You know that brain pill shit he pushes from InfoWars? Are you aware of that? Yeah, Brain Force or whatever the fuck they call it. It's got soy in it.
Oh my
so
goodness.
these lots of videos from the clip of him shouting about the dangers of soy, making you a leftist beta cuck, whatever, and then sliced cuts of him pushing this Brain Force shit, saying, "I take it every day." and close-ups on the label on the bottle contains soy.
Oh my goodness.
That's all bullshit. Because that's the joke. Oh, I want my soy latte. The liberal hanging out at Starbucks, yada yada. That's that kind of shit. So, are you a soy boy then?
No, I don't usually have any soy in my diet.
Neither do I.
I have almond
Actually,
milk.
you do. If you eat it in any kind of foods, there is some soy in there, and it's protein basically. So, guess what? It's actually good for you.
I don't eat a lot of food with soy. I'm telling you, like there's a lot of vegetables in my diet.
Yeah,
and there's some meat, but I've cut out a lot of the grains and the processed food that would have the soy in it.
Right. Well, I'm just saying, on average, you're going to run into something with soy in it.
Around 8 o'clock.
But what was the question from the commenter? He was asking if you were a soy boy. That's why. That's what you're answering.
What's that?
I said that's what you're answering.
What am I answering?
The comment. Didn't he mention something about soy boys? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I gave you the background on
that. So yeah, I'm not a soy boy. I've had some almond milk that I put in some cereal that I have, but if I were to be called a cuck by a lot of the people who popularize terms like this, I wouldn't feel bad about it.
Yeah. Well, a lot of these bodybuilder types, their bulk up shit is lecithin, which guess where that comes from? Soy. It's soy meal. Yeah. It's protein, basically. It's very easily digested by the body. And it's a particular protein set that's, it's actually good for you.
Oh, wait, there is one more question somebody asked, and that was Bugsy, who was in our chat earlier. He said, do you know anything about the steroidal shots in my back? Could they cause roid rage? I've been an angry son of a bitch lately. And I'm just going to say that if it's a corticosteroid that was put in your back, it's probably not going to cause roid rage.
No.
Roid rage at all.
No.
It's the wrong kind of steroid.
Right.
Also, anything that's in an inhaler, wrong kind of steroid.
Yeah, different kind of steroids. Your body makes steroids too, by the way. So, it's
yeah. All right. Well, I think I've addressed all the questions that people have built up on my channel in the past week, and talked about what the title of this show was for. So I'm going to end the show. Thanks everybody for coming.
Yay!
You all have a good one.
Yeah.
And Bugsy just put in the chat.
See you degenerates. Yeah, see you degenerates.
That was a joke. Bugsy was trolling me with that fucking question.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know it will.
And you'll get a serious answer.
Yeah.